Waking in her Ortigas condominium one bright Friday morning, Camila's first thought ay ang nakatakdang interview niya sa isang sumisikat na pinakabatang male foreign novelist na si Joram Al-Zaim. Her publisher informed her that Joram Al-Zaim was half Filipino and half Arabian something. At ayon sa isang artikulong hindi sinasadyang nabasa niya sa isang foreign magazine, noong nakarang taon 27 ito. So we must be about 28-29 now. Dumating ito sa Pilipinas 3 araw na nakakalipas. Her boss who accidentally met the writer in New York was granted a coveted interview sa sandaling dumating sa Pilipinas ang writer. Bagaman may celebrity column sila, pinagnataka pa rin niya kung bakit ang isang fashion magazine na tulad ng Dame ang napili ni Joram Al-Zaim. What added to the puzzle, sinabi mismo ni Joram Al-Zaim na magpapa-interview lamang ito kung ang editor ng Dame ang gagawa niyon. Why me, Louie? Salubong ang mga kailan niyang tanong sa publisher, which happened to become one of her closest friends when she joined the magazine more than 3 years ago, na makausap niya ito sa telepono. Di naman ako reporter. You are the reporter and I am the editor, remember? Don't ask me. The man insisted that you interviewed him. No explanations. Wika nito sa no-nonsense tone. You must have attracted him from your inside cover photo and could not blame the poor guy. Nakita ko sa apartment niya sa New York ang magazines natin. It seemed na may copy siya every month. Check the subscribers file. Wala tayong subscription abroad, Louie. You know that. He must have some friends here at nagpapadala. Whatever. Ang importante sa atin niya binigay ang permiso na ma-interview siya. Sales, chika. Sales. He may not be Sidney Sheldon or John Grisham, but whoever else, pero kilala siya ng mga A and B readers natin and some of the upper C's. His novels are on the bestseller list for a year now. And besides, malapit lang sa area Mumbai ni Joram Al-Zaim, Corinthian Garden. Louie was bubbling excitedly. I haven't interviewed a single soul in my... And a Filipino for that matter. Think about it. And stop worrying over a grain of salt, knowing you, kayang-kaya mo yun. Piece of cake. Hindi naman yun on air, it's only a preparation that take longer. The actual interview usually lasts an hour or so. And if you want, ikaw na rin kumuha ng mga photos niya, Camila. Knowing how good you are at it. Hobby ko lang ang photography, Louie. You know that. Then take Rudolph with you. Ang tinutukoy nito ay ang isa sa professional photographers ng magazine. Ihanda mo ang tanong sa notebook, then bring your tape recorder. Presto! We have it in our mag. Camila tapped her pen on the table and sighed miserably. Sa tono ng boses ni Louie, her friend wouldn't even consider her refusal. I've read somewhere that he is very young. What does he look like? Tanong niya dahil wala na siyang maikakatwiran. 30-ish. Though he looks older because of the stubble grown on his sexy face. So he's not your boyish and clean-cut type, chica? She said, and Camila could imagine her friend grinning. He's more of mine. Bedroom voice, tall, dark, and oh, delectable. Shut up, Louie. She rolled her eyes. Typical of her friend. Very permissive. East and west ang diferensya nilang dalawa pagdating sa pakikipagrelasyon. But they were friends. Did you go to bed with him? Yan bang dahilan kaya sa atin binigay ang interview? Birong totoo niya. Paano mo nagawang akusahan ako ng ganyan, Camila? She faked a wounded tone. You should know me better than that. I don't mix business with pleasure. Which was so true, Camila thought. Istrikto si Louie pagdating sa negosyo at trabaho at kung hindi siyang nagbiro ng ganon, natitiyak niya magagalit to. I took him out to dinner purely on business, though I have been wishing the whole night that he would take the initiative. My God! Halos nakasulat na yata sa mukha ko ang take me to bed sign, lalo na isama niya ako sa apartment niya. Alin na lang sa dalawa, Camila? Manhid o bakla ang writer na yon? Camila gave a throaty laugh. Poor Louie. She stretched sleepily, her mind still on Joram Al-Zaim. He had written 4 best-selling novels. Isa na naging television series and the other one was made into a movie and was a blockbuster hit. Harrison Ford being the lead actor. Camila had no idea when he started his writing career. Isa iyon sa mga itatanong niya. Wala siyang hilig sa mga makakapal na bestseller paperbacks. At her age, gusto pa rin niya ng mga romantic fiction, ala Judith McNaught and the likes. But when Louie first informed her about the interview, agad siyang binisita ang National Bookstore and bought all 4 of his novels. Read them all in 1 week in between jobs and meals. Hindi niya gustong basahin ng nobela bago matulog. It would take her precious sleep. That was her only beauty secret. Joram Al-Zaim forte was romance espionage thriller. Lahat ng nobela sa iba't ibang bansa sa Middle East ang setting. As his critics said, you will be thrilled by his novels. He wrote with narrative passion, etc., etc. But after reading each novel, though she enjoyed and was thrilled with every page, it left her with an aching heart for Joram Al-Zaim's heroes. Lagi nagwawakas sa nobela nito na magkahiwalay ang hero at heroine. Pinagtatawanan siya ng dalawa sa mga malalapit niyang kaibigan, sina Louie at Tessa, pagdating sa bagay na yan. She was still as romantic as ever. Gusto niya ng happy ending, for the hero and heroine to live happily ever after. She sighed, still half asleep. Her mind wandered pleasurably to another man. Ang pinakamasugid niyang manliligaw si Dave. Matapos ang maraming paanyaya, she finally promised Dave yesterday to go out with him tonight. She imagined fine dining sa isang bagong bukas sa French restaurant over candlelight. She could still imagine Dave's face sabihin niya na pumayag siyang sumamang lumabas dito. His face lit up, parang batang nabilhan ng bagong laruan. Matagal na rin namang nanliligaw si Dave sa kanya at hinahangaan niya ang pagiging matyaga nito. Ano pa nga bang hahanapin niya rito? In his early 30s, medium height, boyishly handsome, bank executive, mabait at masarap kausap, and Camila was not getting any younger. She would be 25 in 2 months' time. At napatunayan niya yung kaya niyang tumayo sa magsarili without her father's financial help. She was successful and very good at her job. She was receiving handsome fee bilang editor-in-chief na isang kanilang fashion magazine. Some competitors wanted to pirate her and offered much higher fee, but it would take more than money for her to leave Dame and Louis. Nagkakilala sila ni Louis sa isang seminar tungkol sa photography, which Camila was an enthusiast at naging magkaibigan. Inalok niya ito magtrabaho sa isang kanilang magazine na minanito sa mga magulang, which at that time was almost defunct. When she took it over, she gave the magazine a new look and style, changed the format and revamped the content. In just 4 months' time, unti-unting bumabalik sa sirkulasyon ng magazine. Unti-unti nagkakaroon ng magandang sales, at ngayon isa na ito sa best-selling fashion magazine sa bansa. Her condo unit was hers alone. Binili niya ng sariling pawis, ganoon din ang 1-year-old Honda Accord niya. She had warmth as well as intelligence, and thought she was not as stunning as her sister Cora. She was beautiful and her features were good, and people said she was a looker. She had wavy and shiny raven black hair, katamtamang tangos ang ilong, pretty mouth, well-defined brows, slim yet filled at the right places, and she had a nice pair of legs. That men said, legs that stretched forever. Ano pa nga bang mahihiling niya? She was successful and financially stable. A man! Ang sinisigaw na isang bahagi ng utak niya. She needed a man. A man in her dull and boring love life. Yun ang kulang. Sa nakalipas na mga taon, nagkaroon din naman siya ng on and off relationship sa ilang lalaki na bawat isa, maingat ang pinilit may pagmamalaki niya kahit na kanino. The so-called almost perfect man. Pero walang tumagal sa mga iyon. She was the first to end the relationship bago pa man yung tumagal sa pagtataka ng marami, maging na sarili niyang pamilya. Pagkaway may unti-unting lumilitaw na anyo sa sulok ng isip niya. Tall, dark and lanky. Ichabod Crane. Nerd. Agad niyang binura sa isip. That was many years ago. Hindi niya gustong isipin si Jacob ang dahilan kung bakit hindi makatagal ang mga relasyon niya sa mga naging boyfriend. She reached for her bolster pillow and hugged it. Maybe tonight, over candlelit dinner, sasagutin niya ng pag-ibig ni Dave. Her parents would love him. At si Tessa, her friend for elementary days, was now happily married. Right after graduation from college, ito at si Peter ay nagpakasal. At may isa na ring 5 taong anak na babae. And maybe this time kung magkakasundo sila ni Dave, siya na mismo mag-aayang pagpakasal sila. Mapupunan na rin ang kulang sa buhay niya. Nasa ganoon siyang pag-iisip nang tumulog ang telepono sa ibabaw ng night table niya. Naghihikab pang inabot niya ang telepono. Hello? Good morning, beautiful. Ako ba ang gumising sa'yo? Dave asked warmly. She smiled. Bumangon at sumandal sa headboard. Kanina pa akong gising, Dave, she said softly, warmed by his morning greetings. Hindi ko lang gustong bumangon. Well, I'm glad you called. Kailangan ko lang bumangon. 10:30 ang interview ko kay Joram. Sinulyapan niyang alarm clock sa tabi ng phone. It said 7:10. May mahigit 3 oras pa siya para mag-ayos at bumiyahe patungo sa bahay nito. Forgive this man for being so insecure. So I'm confirming my first date with the loveliest woman on earth tonight. She laughed huskily. Lo Franz, 8 o'clock. I'll drive my own car and I'll meet you at the lobby. Hindi ba man lang ako binigyan ng pagkakataong sunduin ka mamaya at ihatid pagkatapos? Disappointment laced his voice, pero agad ding nabawi. But of course, I could not ask for more. See you then, sweetheart. He hung up. Tinitigan ni Camila ang telepono at sandaling natigilan. Sweetheart. Agad ang imahe ng isang matangkad at payat na lalaki mula sa kahapon ang lumitaw sa kanyang balintataw. She sighed and forced them all back to the deepest corner of her heart. Tumayo siya tinungo ang banyo. Pagbaba ni Camila sa condo unit niya 1 oras at kalahati bago ang appointment niya kay Joram Al-Saim. Nasa ibaba na si Rudolph, ang paborito niyang professional photographer, in his mid-30s, happily married with 3 kids. Then they proceeded to Corinson Gardens, and it was obvious na napatiunang nag-iwan ng instructions si Joram Al-Saim sa mga gwardya na ipakita niyang press ID at mabasa ang pangalan niya, agad din silang pinapasok. This is it, Camila. Ani Rudolph na matanaw nitong numero ng gate ng isang maganda at modernong bahay sakaling pinasok nila. The gate was pristine white at lampas tao lang ng kaunti. Ganoon din ang kulay ng pintura ng bahay. Hindi niya natanaw ang bubong. She was impressed by Joram Al-Zaim's house if it was even his house. He could have rented it in modern cubism architecture. Inayos ni Camila ang paradang makalampas ng nabahagya sa driveway. Naunang bumaba si Rudolph at ito na mismo ang nag-buzzer. Mula sa speaker na nakabit sa poste ng gate, lumabas ang tinig ng isang babae, cultured and well-modulated. What do you want? We have an appointment with Mr. Al-Zaim this morning. This is Camila de la Cruz of Dame. Wika niya tinitigan si Rudolph. Do I look alright? She mouthed. Biglang nakadama siya ng inseguridad. Niyoko niyang sarili. She was wearing her usual business attire. Pitch-collared tailor suit. May pang-ilalim na flowery print. Her pencil-cut skirt just a little above the knee showing her stocking legs. 3-inch high-heeled coral shoes with matching clutch bag. Nasa attaching niya ang tape recorder at notebook. Her hair was tied in her nape, inching none, and her makeup was light. My God, Camila. Kung ako lang ang Joram Al-Zaim na yan, I'll forget about the interview and ask you right away to dine with me. Pariniyak ni Rudolph sa senterong tono. Why? You're gorgeous. I don't want to look gorgeous, Rudolph. I want to appear cool, professional, and businesslike. Rest assured you are. Being gorgeous is an added bonus, and men love gorgeous reporter, darling. He grinned, showing cap teeth. She was about to say something nang bumukas ang gate pang tao. Isang uniformadong maid ang sumilip bago binuksan ng maluwag ang gate. Tuloy daw po kayo, anyaya nito. Kasunod niya si Rudolph na binaybay ang driveway. Nilinga niyang paligid. What else could she say? One lovely house was not the same as the other. She was privileged to live an affluent life. Ang kabahayan puti ng pintura. Malalaki at mamahalin ng glaze ceramic tiles and rosewood with lighter streaks. Masculine ang kulay ng mga furniture and fixtures at di niya mapigilang humanga sa living room. Ang tagililang bahagi ay all glass at tatatanaw sa katamtamang laking swimming pool. So, you are the reporter. Mula sa pool nilingon ni Camila ang pinanggalingan ng tinig. The word reporter was spoken as if she was a garbage woman. Yun ang boss na narinig nila sa speaker sa gate at bago pa niya masiko si Rudolph, napasipol na ito. The woman was tall and handsome, probably 5'7" and was wearing a haltered round neck, long black stick dress that hugged her exquisite figure. The length of the dress stopped 5 inches from her ankle. Her feet were enclosed with thin strapped silver stilettos that must be 4 inches so that made her 5'10" tall. Camila. Camila whistled silently. Ang slit ay wala sa tagiliran o sa likod, kung hindi nasa gitna. Ang kanang binti which started a few inches mula sa pinahihintulot. Camila did not like the burgundy dye but she couldn't help but admire the woman in ultra-short burgundy hair. She was wearing loop gold earrings to siyang tayong adorno sa katawan. Lumakad na tila modelo patungo sa sofa at siyang nagpatiuna sa kanila, showing bareback. At kung hindi siya nagkakamali ay naiisip niya ng puno ng dibdib ito sa may tagiliran. Lumingon ito. Hinagod ang tingin si Camila and her face might have curled and stove dahil hindi dumihisa sa mukha nito kung anumang opinyon sa kanya. Please have a seat. Wika nito sa formal at modulated na tinig. Joram will be out in a minute. I'll give anything just to get that woman in my bed, Camila. Bulong ni Rudolph. Nakangisit na sa mga tampag na nasa. Isang matalim na tingin ang pinukol ni Camila sa kasama. Mabilis sumakbang patungo sa malumot na leatherette, sofa at naupo roon. Prim and proper, compared to the status woman, may pakiramdam siyang unano siya at basahan ang suot. Good morning. Camila started at the voice. Nag-angat siya ng muka nang pagkarinig sa buong-buong tinig mula sa may puno ng hagdan. Joram, darling. Walang emosyong mukha'y dagling lumambot at naglabas na matamis ng ngiti. Sinulubong nito ang lalaki at kinawit ang braso sa braso nito. Meet the reporter and the photographer. Si Camila hindi matiyak kung saan nanggaling ang matinding kaba na mabilis umahon sa kanyang dibdib nang tumayo si atlingan ng celebrity na nakatakda niyang interviewin. And his eyes met hers. She felt an impact that was almost like a blow. It left her unable to talk. Her celebrity spoke of her. How are you, Miss De La Cruz? I'm glad you're on time. I hate late appointments. Inaabala nitong iba ko pang gagawin. Hindi pinansin ni Camila ang aroganting tono ng lalaki. Mas pinagtaka niya ang diretsong Tagalog nito. Alam niyang may dugong Pilipino si Joram Al-Zaim, pero maraming Filipino-American ang hindi marunong magtagalog. Halimbawa si Lou Diamond Phillips na isang Hollywood actor. All she could do was look at him. He had gleaming black hair as black as an Arabian's. He was dark and tall, well over 6 feet. His eyes were like 2 black opals, matangos ang ilong, and the two-way growth of stubbles on his face reminded her one of those hunk men na nasa pahinga ng GQ. Under his white expensive sports shirt and faded blue jeans lurked a natural athlete's body, hard and muscled in the right places. Sa suma total, Joram Alzaim was a very attractive man. No wonder Louis was trying to take him to her bed. Delectable. That was what Louis said, and she was right. Subalit para kay Camila, Joram Alzaim was just a man. Another job to do and get over with. Pero bakit niya may paliwanag ang kabang nararamdaman niya? Alam niyang hindi dahil yun sa unang pagkakataong mag-i-interview siya at isang foreign celebrity pa. It was more than that. There was something familiar about this man. She just could not place it. Of course. Nilingon niya si Rudolph at tinihanda ang camera at pagkatapos bumaling sa sofa sa paligid, wanting to get a hold of herself. Well, si Joram. I thought you came for the interview. Banayad at palhim na siniko ni Rudolph ang dalaga. Napapitlag siya. That voice. Where would you want to sit, Mr. Alzaim? But of course, we would like to take your photograph first. Dispense with the photograph shooting. That can be done later. If you want this interview, let's go on with it. Follow me to my study, Miss De La Cruz, he commanded arrogantly. Tumalikod at nagpatiyo ng lumakad, followed by the tall and sexy woman. Ano nangyayari sa'yo? Bakit natutulala ka? Bulong ni Rudolph sa kanya. This isn't like you, Camila. My first assignment as a reporter, remember? She said sarcastically. Mabilis sinablot ang attache case. You wait here at handa mo yung camera mo namang sandali. Bili niya rito at nagmadaling sumunod. Binuksan ni Joram Alzaim ang pinto at pinapasok siya. Pagkaway nilingon ng babae. You can leave us, Mildred. I'm sure there's no need for privacy, Joram. Wika nito at tininan si Camila na nilapag sa gitnang mesa ang attache case. I don't want an audience, Mildred. Wika nito sa tonong hindi mababali. Saglit lang ang kislap ng ines sa mga mata ng babae. Agad itong tumalikod. Isinara ni Joram ang pintuan at humakbang patungo sa pang-isahang sofa at naupo. Sinisikap kontrol ni Camila ang kabang kanina pang nasa dibdib. Nagmamadali niyang binuksan ang attache case at nilabas ang notebook, ballpen at ang portable tape recorder. Inihanda niya yun at pagkatapos ay tumingala siya kay Joram. Nasalubong niya ang mga titig nito sa kanya. Tell me when you're ready, Mr. Alzaim. She swallowed at mabilis na nagyuko ng ulo. Hindi niya gustong salubungin ang tingin ng mga mata nito. Sa nanginginig na kamay, binuksan niyang notebook. I'm ready, Miss De La Cruz. Wika nito. His eyes never left her face. His one leg placed over the other at relax na nakasandal sa may sofa. Have been ready for a long time, he added huskily. Bahagyang nagsalubong ang mga kilay niya sa huling sinabi nito pero sinantabi niya iyon. Writers were usually eccentric. Their minds usually wandered kahit na may kausap. Siguro nag-iisip ng bagong plot sa nobelang susunod na gagawin. She fired her for a question that even to her own ears sounded blaze. How long have you been writing, Mr. Alzaim? Sandali lang niya itong sinilyapan. Muling inihanda ang ballpen. She waited for his answer but none came. Na mag-angat sa tingin banayad na nakangiti sa kanyang lalaki at umalis sa pagkakasandal. Nalimutan mo ngayon ang tape recorder mo, Miss De La Cruz. Are you sure you can scribble my answers to your questions as fast as I say them? He said mockingly. She groaned inwardly. What was wrong with her? Hindi siya reporter pero hindi naman dahilan yun para mataranta siya. Mataranta? Tama yun. Natataranta siya. Niyuko niyang tape recorder na nasa mesa nakapagitan sa kanila at inion iyon. Subalit bago niya naiangat ang kamay niya, naroon ang kamay ni Joram. He gently placed his left hand over hers and turned the full power of his black-eyed gaze upon her. Napasinghap si Camila. The spell of his eyes and the light touch of his hand ay tila magkasamang nagpainit sa buong silid ngayong bukas ng air-condition unit. Her physical response to him was heightening her senses and undermining her control. Pero kailangan niya maging firm. The sooner na matapos ang interview, the better. May date sila ni Dave mamayang gabi. Pagkaisip kay Dave, tila nakakuha siya ng lakas upang ipagpatuloy ng maayos ang trabaho. When did you start writing, Mr. Alzaim? Inulit niya ang tanong. This time more composed and calm. Hindi ka ba interesadong itanong kung Pilipino ko o Arabian, Miss De La Cruz? Hindi agad nakapag-react si Camila. That voice again. It sounded like cigarette smoke late at night. Bittersweet love that would never come true. Gray and empty rooms. Young readers would be very interested kung mababasa nilang Pilipino si Joram Alzaim. Though I have foreign blood, I was born here. He was born here. Nagangat siya ng mukha at tinitigan ito. Sa sandaling iyon, muling bumukas ang pinto at pumasok si Mildred. May hawak itong tray na may dalawang baso ng juice. Gustong mangiti ni Camila. Natitiyak niyang ginawang dahilan ng babae ang juice para pumasok. Pakilapag mo rito sa ibaba ng mesa, Mildred, and thank you. Muling naroon na si Missel sa tono nito para sa babae. Nag-alanganin may lumakad dito patungo sa pinto. Close the door, darling. Sinundan ng tingin ni Camila si Mildred hanggang sumaisa rin ito ang pinto. She's very beautiful, she said softly with a sigh. Then slowly she turned her eyes to Joram Al-Zaim. His lips twisted in one corner in a hint of a smile. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder, sweetheart. Camila gasped. Napakabilis ang pagkahon ng kaba sa dibdib. Her chest would break anytime sa lakas ng pintig ng puso niya. Her eyes wide as she looked straight into his black eyes. He was staring back, a faint smile on his lips. Sa magkakataong yun, hindi niya iniwas sa mga mata. Her eyes studied his face. At bago magkahugis ang anumang anyo sa isip niya, nagsalita si Joram Al-Zaim. Did it change that much in 7 years? That you can hardly recognize me? He asked softly, a hint of mockery on his voice. Jacob? How are you, Camila? It's been a long time. Hindi siya agad makasagot. Ang mga kamay niya ay mahigpit na napahawak sa armrest ng sofa. If she wasn't sitting, she would have swayed. Nararamdaman niya ang panlalambot ng mga tuhod. Faith can be cruel at times. Joram Al-Zaim was Jacob. Yun ang dahilan kung bakit pinilit nitong siya mag-interview dito. Sinadya mo bang pagkakita ninyo ng boss ko sa New York? She found her tongue at last, and she was sure her knees were melting. At umaagos pababa sa sahig. Her heart was pounding so violently that she could almost feel the pain. He smiled, and it made 2 shallow dimples on either side of his sensual mouth. Sa nakalipas sa 7 taon, 3 beses akong umuwi sa atin. Pero narito ka na sa Maynila ng mga panahong iyon. Yes, she agreed silently. Pero alam niya ang unang pag-uwi ni Jacob. That was more than 3 years after he left. Nasa San Ignacio siya sa mga panahong iyon. Yun ang kauna-unahang bakasyon niya mula nang lumuwas siya sa Maynila pagkatapos ng graduation niya sa kolehiyo. But she was a day too late para magkita sila ni Jacob. Nang dalawan niya magkapatid na Frank at Olivia Aquino, nagulat pa siya na malamang dumating si Jacob. Kinalulungkot kong hindi kayo nag-abot, iha, ani Frank. Ang tinig na kikisimpatya sa kanya. Nanatili dito ng 2 araw sa Jacob at kahapon lang umalis. Gayon na lang ang panghinayang niyang hindi man lang sila nagkita. Maaari ko po bang malaman kung saan ko maaaring makausap at masulatan si Jacob, Tito Frank? Unti-unting naglaho ang ngiti sa mga labi na matandang lalaki. Nahalinhan iyon ang pagkailang. Hindi madaling sulatan o makipag-communicate kay Jacob, iha. Nasa Middle East siya at sa deserto ang kanyang assignment. Middle East? Nabiglang ulit niya. I thought he is in America. Sa unang mga buwan lamang matapos siyang umalis dito sa atin. Subalit na destino sa Jacob sa Middle East may ilang taon na ngayon. Natitiyak kong hindi na rin maibibigay sa iyo ni Ate Olivia ang forwarding address sa Jacob. With a heavy heart, nagpaalam siya sa matandang lalaki na sa nakalipas sa mga natitirang taon na sa kolehiyo ay naging malapit din sa kanya. Camila raised her eyes at pinagbasa ng kaharap. Ibang Jacob ang nasa harap niya. Gone was the tall and lanky young man. The nerd, Ichabod Crane. The braces were gone, at ganun din ang salamin sa mata, revealing those opal black and penetrating eyes. Ang humalilay pagnanasa ng kahit sa sinong babae. He was very attractive, very male. Isang pinit ng ngiti ang ginawa niya. I'm glad of your success as a writer, Jacob. You are phenomenal, considering the competition sa international market. Alam ba ni Tita Frank at Tia Olivia na ikaw si Joram Al-Zaim? Tanging si Tia Olivia lang nakakaalam. And only after my first novel hit the top list after 6 months. I made her promise never to tell anyone, not even to my father, and thank you. Dinugtong nito ang pasasalamat sa napaka-formal na tono. Muli, alanganin siyang umiti. I really am glad to see you again, but I have work to do, so please, let's proceed with the interview. Muli niyang iniangat ang notebook, trying desperately to be as calm and as professional as she could muster, and hoped she was succeeding. Did you ever dream of becoming a writer? Do you want your readers to know your real name and... Forget about the interview, Camila, he said cuttingly. Iwanan mo sa akin yung mga inihanda mong tanong. Si Mildred na bahalang sumagot sa mga yan. She's my secretary. Some secretary, she thought, recalling in her mind how those possessive arms held him. I want us to talk about you. Tell me about you. There's nothing to tell, Jacob. Alam mong trabaho ko. Dame is my first job at hanggang ngayon narito pa rin. Hindi niya na ituloy ang sinasabi ng muling bumukas ang pinto. Nakita niyang pagguhit ng iritasyon sa mga mata ni Jacob na muling sumungaw si Mildred. Sa kamay ni Mildred ay ang cordless phone. Joram, this is a call from your aunt. Agad naglahong iritasyon sa mukha nito at inabot ang cordless phone mula kay Mildred. Tumayo at lumapit sa may bintanang salamin. Si Mildred na natiling nakatayo sa loob ng silid. Tia? Yes. What? Napatingala si Camila rito nang biglang nag-iba ang tono ng boses sa Jacob at pagkatapos ay humakbang ito patungo sa binakanting sofa at naupong mali. Kinabahan siya sa nakitang anyo nito. Yes, uuwi na ako ngayon din. Tonight. Inoff nito ang phone na natili sa kamay at hindi inabot pabalik kay Mildred. Pagkaway tumingin kay Camilang nasa mga mata ang pagtatanong. Naaksidente ang papa kaninang umaga. He fell from the stairs. Ang Tito Frank. Bulalas na't kasunod na yun ay ang kontroladong pagsinghap ni Mildred. Hindi niya matiyak kung sa pagtukoy niya sa ama ni Jacob o dahil din sa pagkarinig sa balita. Bagaman nakakita niyang palipat-lipat sa kanilang Jacob ang mga mata nito. Magkahalong kuryosidad at pagkamanghang naroon. How is he now? Nasa Trinidad General. I'm glad he's out of danger. Pagkaway tumayo. Kinalulungkot kong hindi matutuloy ang interview na ito, Camila. Kailangan ko umuwi sa Coral Sea ngayon. Of course. Naintindihan ko. Agad niyang pagsang-ayon. Tumango na rin si Camila. Naligpit ang mga gamit. Pagkaway tumingala rito. She saw him watching her every move. Magkadikit ang mga kilay. Bigla'y bumalik ang pagkailang na nadama niya sa mga titig na iyon. Kamusta mo ako sa Tito Frank? She avoided his dark penetrating eyes. Niyoko ang attache case. Why don't you give it yourself? Nahinto ang pagsara niya ng attache case at napatingala rito. She was suddenly confused. What do you mean? Hindi ka ila sa akin mula nang umalis ako'y naging malapit kayo ng papa sa isa't isa. I'm sure he will be glad to see you. Sumama ka sa akin pag uwi. Wala sa loob na napalinga si Camila sa dako ni Mildred, who never thought it necessary to leave the room. She was standing a few feet away from them. Poised, beautiful, and hard as a statue of Venus in Greece. Mula kanina hindi ito nagsasalita at nakikinig lamang sa palitan nila ng usapan ni Jacob. He was out of danger, she stammered. I'll give my parents a call now. I'm sure they will see him immediately. Of course, marahas itong pagsang-ayon. But I'm sure it would please my father to personally see you. Pagkaway humakbang ito patungo sa pinto. Tinatapos ko ng usapang ito, Camila, he said arrogantly. Maganda ka ng mga gamit mo at dadaan kita mamaya sa kondo mo. Gusto ko madalaw ang papa mo, Jacob. Pahabol niya. Pero hindi sa biglang, I have appointment tonight. Si Mildred nilingon siya. There's no need to go if you're busy, Miss De La Cruz. Joram is used to having his way, but it would do him good kung paminsan-minsan sinusuway mo siya. Do you? Kumunot ang noon nito. Do I what? Sinusuway mo siya paminsan-minsan. She cocked an eyebrow. Iba ang relasyon ko sa kanya. Makahulog ang sagot nito sa mapang-angking tono at sa pagkakataong yun hinagod niya ng uuring tingin. Hindi ko alam na magkakilala kayo ni Joram. Dahil iba ang relasyon mo sa kanya, she said scathingly. Hindi niya gusto ang babae. Good day, Mildred. Pagkasabi niya lumabas siya ng silid. Nang mapadaan siya sa hagdan, napatingala siya. Sandali niyang nakita si Jacob sa balustre sa itaas at nakatunghay sa kanya. At bago pa siya muling makatanggi sa sinabi nito, nawala na ito roon. Damn! She murmured. Si Rudolph mabilis na lumapit sa kanya. What happened? Tapos na ba ang interview? What about the pictorial? She sighed in frustration. Forget it. Let's go. Nagmamadali siya lumabas. Nagkakamot ng ulang sumunod si Rudolph. Nasa sasakyan na sila palabas sa subdivision. Iba't ibang emosyon ang nasa dibdib ni Camila. Nagkagalit siya kay Jacob sa pagtatapos ito ng usapang sasama siya rito pa uwi ng Coral Sea. Kasabay niya ng hindi may tatatwang pagkamangha at galak sa muli nilang pagkikita. Nang hindi niya maipaliwanag na inis kay Mildred at sumisingit sa isip niya ang sinabi ni Jacob bago lumabas ng silid. Susunduin kita sa kondo mo. Pati ba kung saan siya nakatira ilan naman ito mula kay Louie? Ano ang motibo ni Jacob? Hindi mo ko sinasagot. Untag ni Rudolph. Ano ba nangyari? Bakit nagmamadaling pumanik si Joram Alzaim? Malaki ba ang ulot mahirap kausapin? That bastard is so arrogant. May tinanggap siyang emergency, Rudolph. Na-aksidente ang papa niya kaninang umaga. Patungo siya ngayon sa ospital. On the contrary, sa sulok ng dibdib niya, nag-aalala siya kay Frank Aquino. At tama sa Jacob na dalawin niya ito. Narito rin sa Pilipinas ang ama ni Joram Alzaim. You'll be surprised. Matabang niyang sagot. Kunot ang noong tinitigan siya ni Rudolph, subalit natiyak ng photographer na sa anyo at tono niya ay hindi na niya gustong magsalita pa.